So my daughter has friends over, and every time I start recording a video, they come out, and she's had friends here for the last 4 nights, and she doesn't go back to school until the 15th or something. So I kind of think that's how things are gonna roll for a bit. So I was gonna do a video on best of the year stuff, but I'm not gonna do that now. I've been writing stuff forever, and there is one story or like a universe that I created like back in 98, 99. That for some reason or another, every time I start writing it, I don't like the world it's in. So I've this isn't the same thing as my fantasy thing from high school. But when I first started writing it, it was like a sword and fantasy kind of thing with castles and dungeons and everything. And then I tried doing it kind of like Twin Peaks, and then that turned into Black Star Canyon, and pretty much all the characters and everything that I wanted to put into it wasn't there anymore. So Black Star Canyon was kind of like its own thing at that point. Then I thought it would be a comic book, so I tried doing it like that, and that was a long time ago. And then I tried doing it as a live wrestling promotion, and I wonder if I could find those videos. I interviewed wrestlers and had all these, and I went to like training centers and watched people wrestle and made them cut promos and stuff, to try to see if I could put this together. That was a fucking nightmare, so that didn't end up happening. Then I wanted it to be a video game. That didn't end up happening. And then I wanted to do kind of like a pulpy detective thing with it, and I've talked about it before. And I started writing it as a detective thing and realized that the most boring stuff in the story was all the stuff that I wanted to write the story for in the first place. So the detective, it was more of a police procedural, I guess. What I was working on is actually really good, but I had to keep like going back and back and back and back and back, to try to figure out a way to make the story work with the least amount of explanation about things possible. So I would start writing a chapter and go, oh, you know what? If I started this before this event took place, this would make a lot more sense. And so I just kept doing that and kept doing that. And I never finished like one like 20,000 page anything, or 20,000 word anything, because every time I would get really far in it, I'd have to pull back and go, oh man, I should totally do this. And so it's been kind of on the back burner the last couple weeks. Um, Kind of unhappily so. Like, I really, really want to tell this story. I really want to tell about these characters. And I think one of the biggest problems I was having was these characters were very, like, otherworldly. And so much of the stuff I have been writing the last couple years has, for the most part, been based in reality. So I was trying to take something that is not based in reality and try to shove it in like that. And it worked with Black Star Canyon, but in doing so, um, the otherworldly elements I think got a little neutered. I think it's Black Star Canyon's good as it is right now. I think if I would have got any weirder with it, um, there wouldn't have really been an audience for it. It would have been too, like, not weird enough for the people who like weird stuff, and then not um, thrillery enough for people who like thrillers. It just would have got weird. So, as you know, actually, I don't know if I've really talked about it, but if you follow me on Goodreads, you'll know that I've been reading a lot of Lovecraft lately. And I'm also reading the Weird Tales story, which is so much more interesting than I thought it would be. And not because I didn't think there was an interesting story there, but when I saw the table of contents of this book and how it was, like, told, I was like, oh man, it's not just like a straight, like, it's like a bunch of little things, but it's actually really good. So anyway, I was flipping through my Black Seas of Infinity book, and I came across the appendix. Okay, that's Appendix D. I think I need Appendix B. Okay, so in Appendix B, it's notes about writing weird fiction. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll take a look at this, whatever. And I started reading it, and I noticed something that Lovecraft did, that Poe did, that I really liked, and that was kind of like the diary of a madman kind of thing. Like, you're reading an account from someone who is, like, slowly losing their mind kind of thing. And so I was trying to figure out, like, if that would work with what I'm working on. And then he has, like, a 5-point thing in here on how he does what he does. So the first one is to prepare a synopsis or scenario of events in the order of their absolute occurrence, not in the order of their narration. Describe with enough fullness to cover all vital points and motivate all incidents planned. Details, comments, and estimates of consequences are sometimes desirable in this temporary framework. And then prepare a second synopsis, this one in order of narration, not actual occurrence. Change original synopsis to fit if such a change will increase dramatic force. Well, basically, what it's getting at is have a history of whatever's happening, like an actual, this is what really happened. And then, from whatever the narrator's perspective is, do another synopsis based on how that character perceives the events. And whenever I've written anything in the sense of someone losing their mind or something like that, I typically, like, pants it. Like I don't really plan it a whole lot. I just type, and um, he'll or she'll either go crazy, or they won't, or they'll die, or they will live, whatever. Um, so thinking about it like that, this whole story thing that I've been wanting to do for all these years, I have like a history of all the events, the wars that take place, the battles, um, the power struggles, um, who dies when, and all this other crap. And I was just like, if I were to just take somebody and just throw them in it, like, would that be interesting? And I started going through all of the, um, if you want to call them chapters or events, um, and thought about if, like, a total random stranger got thrusted into this event, like, how would they react to it? And it's actually quite interesting. Like, I'm kind of inspired to start writing all that stuff right now. And just having like a completely naive narrator about the situation, and then watch them kind of descend, is it might actually be the thing that makes this whole universe work. So that's it, really. I was just going to say, if any of you have a story that you've been wanting to write for a long time and you just haven't been able to figure out the best way to tell it, to just try this as like even a writing exercise. Like, even if it's something you've already written, you know, um, just do a new little bit where you just like put a total random person right smack dab in the middle of like a completely screwed situation, and just see how it goes. I've been doing tons of notes trying to figure out if that's the way to go. So I'm kind of excited. So I'll give you more updates on that as they come around.